Phoenix home prices are making a quiet comeback, but not the kind we saw during the boom. After bottom out near 420,000 in early 2023, prices have climbed back to $465,000 by October 2025. That is a 45,000 rebound built on a solid fundamentals, not hype. Now, the comfort market index show buyers still hold a slight edge, with 12 out of 18 cities leaning in the favor of the buyer. But the sellers are regaining ground in key spots like Tempe, Chandler, Fountain Hills. Meanwhile, resale closings are up while new build sales are cooling. So let's take a look at what's happening in today's full market report. In front of you right here is the monthly median sale price. The data show from 2021 all the way to 2025. But let's focus on the more recent years, starting maybe around early of 2023 until October of 2025. The median sale price in Greater Phoenix area has rebounded. As you see, right, early 2023 is still like at the bottom. This is the bottom after the drop since May 2022, right? It's bottom, and now it's already 465,000 median price. The market right here back then dropped because interest rate goes crazily high. We're talking about 8%, and the buyer demand basically out. But since then, price has been improving. It's go up, down, it's go up, it's go down, it go up, but eventually look at the long-term trend, it's actually going up, right? By October 2025, the median sale price already reached 465,000. That's, again, another 45,000 gain from 2023. The recovery hasn't been dramatic or speculative. It doesn't involve any thinking like the buyer think the market gonna go up. In fact, it's the opposite. It's been slowly increasing and by actually the demand of the buyer in this period. So it's interesting. So in contradictory with a lot of people thinking the home price is going down, when we look at the long term, it's actually see going up. Well, they may be right, because in some period we still have a downtrend. So maybe they're only looking at this, looking at this, looking at this. Those are the downtrend period of home prices. But when you look at the long term, you actually have a gain. What about the local market? So here's the local market. This week, we're looking at the comfort market index again, and it's actually revealed a slightly stronger table than last week. However, though, if we look at the overall chart, it doesn't change much. We actually have 12 cities that moving in favorable to the buyers. Again, for comfort market index, if it is a 90 point or less, then the market is determined as a buyer's market. When we say that the market moving in favorable to the buyers, that means the comfort market index is moving lesser and lesser than 90. We're talking about some of the leading cities like Paradise Valley is dropped 11%, Scottsdale dropped 7%, Gilbert, Mesa, Avondale, those are the cities that moving in favorable of the buyer. Now, I'm not saying that the market is a buyer's market. It's moving favorable. That means it's getting closer to 90 or less. So Gilbert is still actually a seller's market with 116 points. But compared to previous week is 117 points. So that means it's moving favorable to the buyer. Some other obvious change is Paradise Valley dropped 11%, like I mentioned. Right now it's only 129 points. Still in the seller's market, but it's a big jump. It's like 20 points down from previous week. One is remain unchanged. That actually the city of Phoenix, the biggest city, the capital of Arizona, the remain doesn't change. And 5 cities that moving in favorable of the sellers. These are the cities that moving forward to the buyer side, and here's the cities that moving in favorable to the seller. Leading, we can talk about Tempe. Surprisingly, Tempe has increased 14% compared to previous week. Now it is at 101.7 points. So that is a balanced market for city of Tempe. Buckeye is 7%. It's actually more and more people buying in Buckeye nowadays, and that's the reason why city of Buckeye has a movement that's favorable to the seller. Fountain Hills, Chandler, and Cave Creek. If you buy a house, specifically Chandler, you will see this pressure. You will see the pressure. Even though other cities you might have more time, but for Chandler and Gilbert, you may not have a lot of time to think. Next, 6 cities that in the seller's market, still in the seller's market. That is Fountain Hills, Chandler, Paradise Valley, Scottsdale, Gilbert, and Cave Creek. Those are the cities that in the seller's market. 5 cities that in this balance is Mesa, Avondale, Phoenix, Tempe, and Glendale. When we talk about they are in the balanced market, that means both the buyers and the seller have about the same negotiation power, both parties, okay? Now, here's are the cities that the buyers can negotiate a lot. 7 of them, and we have 7 of them. We're talking about Peoria, Goodyear, Surprise, Santan Valley, Queen Creek, Buckeye, and Maricopa. So obviously, we see that they still have a lot in the buyer's market. A lot of buyers can negotiate a lot in these 7 cities. So if you are looking for a house, buy a house in these cities, that means you are in good luck, right? Now, however, even if you're in a seller's market, even if you're in the hottest market right now, which is Chandler, in my opinion, you still have to make the price right. And you still have to prepare the house. It doesn't give you the advantage of 2022 during COVID that you don't have to do anything. You still have to have a strategic pricing. You still have the right marketing in place, and you still have to have the right price. So the combination of those 3 are going to help you sell the house. Lack of one of them is still not going to be able to help you out. Now we are looking at some closed data. We just got this data this week. So overall, we have 6,059 total closed in the month of October. That is actually down of 1.5% when you compare to previous year, but it's up 2.1% when you compare to previous month. For new home, that's only 1,272. That's actually down 15% compared to last year. And now when we talk about resale home, that means some houses, they already have the owner and they just sell it to the open market, 4,787. Those are the resale closing. That's actually up 3%. So overall this year in October, more people buying houses that are on the market, that resale. Now, that's the reason why seller do not feel stressed if your house hasn't been sold yet, because there's still a lot of buyers on the market right now looking for your property. Don't give up yet. You still have to have the right price. You still have to have the right preparation. You have to have a right marketing strategy, and it may take longer time, but you still be able to sell it. And then it's actually very good number for the seller. The median sale price of Maricopa County is $478,000. Now it's up 0.8% when you compare to year over year. And here we go again, another period that dropped 2%. Well, when a lot of people are asking, Long, how's the market? Is it going up or is it going down? It's really difficult for me to tell one number without any comparison, right? So obviously here, when I compare to last month, it's go down, but when I compare to last year, it's go up. So the matter is, which do you care? Which time frame do you care about? You care about long term or you care about the short term? And why? The question is also why, right? So in general, I think real estate overall will increase as a long term. New home, 536,091. Okay, it's actually up 2%. So less people buying new house. I think this is one of the reasons, because overall the new build, you have to pay more and it's more and more expensive nowadays as well. But the resale home is actually less than the median overall, the overall median, 460. So it's more affordable for the buyer. It's actually up 1.1% and down 2.1% when you compare to previous months. So overall, I think resale is still bring a lot of value here to the home buyer. And even though the new homes have some advantage, some unique advantage, right? New warranty, lower interest rate. Well, if you're looking for a more affordable option, resale is still a good price for you right here. Arizona market is still very healthy, but both parties do need to be prepared and have the right strategy, the right negotiation strategy, and depend on the area and depend on the type of the home. So if you're interested in discussing about those options, feel free to schedule a call with me and we will talk about your options. So let's look at the 10-year Treasury. The reason why the 10-year Treasury yield is important is because it's impacting the interest rate, right? Obviously, we see that the Dow trend and a lot of people predicting until the beginning of 2026 is going to continue to go lower. That because of the current economic situation and the market getting more confidence again. So that should also allow the difference between the yield and the interest rate smaller. The more down the 10-year Treasury, the smaller the spread between them. Why the spread is significant? The difference between the market interest rate and the yield is typical at 1.76%. Right now it's about 2. So when the spread is getting smaller, that's actually a good news. And that's actually creating the trend that the interest rate also go down. So we'll see and we'll continue monitoring this number and we'll report to you as soon as possible. So here's some more example. If the 10-year Treasury yield return to its usual relationship, which is about 1.76, as I told you, then the rate today would be closer to 6%. So right now, this is one of the examples. The blue is a 10-year Treasury yield, 4.20. Right now, currently, the spread is about 2.1. The mortgage rate, therefore, is going to be 6.30. If the spread is smaller, then we're gonna most likely having a more closer to 5.96%. So that's very good for affordability. Now, one thing to say, it's not happening overnight. It's not happening overnight. So definitely come back to these market updates, and I will update you on the weekly basis about the situation and let you know when the interest rate getting lower than 6. Last but not least, okay, the lower rate equals strong buyer demand. Interest rate has dropped last couple of weeks, and we see that there's a stronger demand since then. So we have a 30 years mortgage rate here, and whenever the interest rate go below 6.5, we have a good demand. Buyers good demand. Everything that around 6.5 to 7 is very, very low. It's limited, and if it is higher than 7, it's very weak. This is a good news because as of right now, we see that this is well in between of the good demand area. Interest rate helps the market, and hopefully it will drive more demand. So in conclusion, we can see that the Arizona market is definitely not in a crash market. We see a lot of activities. We see a lot of price go up and price goes down. We also see the good mix of the buyers and the seller cities within Phoenix metro area. Okay, it's a very well good mix, very well balanced good mix. Okay, so therefore it's not the sign of a crash. So if you worry about a crash, it's not actually gonna happen. And you already see the price is already go up since 2023. Thank you so much everyone for watching.